To my mind, see, the consolidation should be a meeting of minds of the respective bank boards and the management. It cannot be, forced in some way, because the advantage of a merger or a consolidation and the faster to expedite that, it's always better if the respective banks, meet in some way. Now, it could be strategic merger between the two banks in terms of what they feel are their good points and bad points, and try and make sure that 2 plus 2 doesn't become 4 but 3.5, and 3.5 in a short time. So surely you can't have benchmarks. While there are certain benchmarks floating, such as a bank from the north to vis-a-vis a bank from the south. People of similar, like two banks in the south itself, a bank which is strong and corporate with a retail bank and so on. So there are enough parameters that can go in terms of judging which two banks are suitable. But finally, to me, the consolidation process is always a slightly difficult process unless the managements and the boards of the banks meet together and find a way out for a faster merger in some way.
You also spoke about reviewing your worldwide business. Could you share some color on that?
Now we are looking at the international operations, in a way in which we should be prepared for the next 3 to 5 years in terms of strategy going forward. And the strategy would cover in terms of how much of our business and profit should come out of international operations in this time frame, and which are the geographies in which we should be growing, and where are the opportunities, where we should be opening, and where we should be looking at rationalizing branches. What are the additional costs that have come on to the banks in respect of regulatory and risk mitigating efforts, and as well as compliance that some of the regulators have put in with the banks. So some of the regulators like the UK have said that convert it to a subsidiary, and so on and so forth. So this review is going on, and we should be in place with a strategy over the next couple of months, which will be put up to the board for a review.
Now with the MCLR on the roadmap since 1st of April, at 9.2%, State Bank of India has amongst the lowest that banks in the country offer. What more do you see in terms of transmission to customers as far as rates are concerned?
As the funding costs come down, as the rates move, in a way in which we are able to pass on the benefits to customers, we should be in line with what is required by the market. There are two major issues. One is, of course, that how much of credit growth forecast is there for the current year, and how is it growing. Finally, any loss of revenue in terms of lower margins will have to be made up by more customer demand, and that is the whole business of bringing down the rates. So that is one part. The second is, of course, we have been bringing down the deposit rates over a period of time, and the impact on that, which we can push to the asset side and improve and grow credit more, is something that we evaluate every month in our ALCO. And we will continue to do that in the months to come.
So far, lending to state governments was considered a very safe affair. Now, with the recent alleged diversion of funds by Punjab state government as far as the food grain scandal is concerned, how do you read the situation, and what is your assessment? What kind of provisioning are you looking to make for this particular incident?
I don't want to talk on individual companies, but I am still, state government credit is one of the highest credit quality that we can think of, and I'm sure that all these issues will get resolved in the normal time.
Meanwhile, what kind of provisioning would banks be required to make for this?
As I said, I don't want to comment on individual companies.
So my last question, Vijay Mallya made an offer to banks which banks have turned down for natural reasons. But given the situation, do you think it would have been prudent for banks to have taken what they could have got, considering that Vijay Mallya hasn't been traced yet and he hasn't even come up to ED and other investigative agencies? So do you think it would have been better to take part of what was being offered and then try and claim the other, considering this is turning out to be a zero-sum game?
No, hindsight vision is always 2020. You can always say if and but and all that. But in any case, I think I'd rather not refrain from commenting on these cases, and especially when it is sub judice.
So my last question is on credit growth. Could you tell us how the corporate side and the agriculture side is looking at the moment for State Bank of India as far as uptick is concerned?
I would still imagine that the large corporates, to some extent, we should be able to look at a decent growth in the coming years. The mid corporate is a concern because they don't have deeper pockets, and there is a concern there. But however, I feel larger corporates with enough demand coming through, and there's a lot of projects that we are seeing in the anvil. There should be enough appetite for that. Agriculture, we are quite delighted that the rainfall monsoon production has been quite positive and optimistic. And it not only helps in growing credit in terms of renewals and all that, but also in terms of repayment. There's a very healthy repayment that comes once the monsoon becomes normal and is spread across the time of the monsoon period. So we are quite hopeful that repayments will come, and we'll be able to make sure that the additional credit on account of for farmers as per the eligibility will also be done in time, so that there are significant upsides both to the farmers as well as to the banks.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/etnow.